everyone. Welcome back to Law Study Kit. I'm Rabia. Today I'm going to talk about whether you can work full-time while also doing the first 4 months of the LPP program. So the first 4 months are the training component of the LPP program, and I want to discuss whether you can also work full-time while completing the training component. So if you're interested, keep watching. Short answer to this question is it depends. It depends on a lot of different factors that I'm going to talk about today. And then at the end of the day, it is your call. I have heard people who have done full-time jobs while they do the first 4 months of the LPP program. And I've also met people who found this very stressful. And I also met people who thought it was super easy. So there are different kinds of people who have different opinions, but I think that I can't tell you whether it's good, whether it's going to work out for you or not. But I can certainly tell you some factors that you want to consider before you make that call. So I'm going to be discussing 4 factors that you must consider and how will that affect your decision. The first thing that you want to ask yourself is, can you afford not to work for the first 4 months of the LPP placement? Now, I know that everyone comes from a different financial background, and some people just cannot afford to leave work because they do need the money to either feed their families or themselves or whatever situation that they're in. So the first question is, can you afford not to work? And if you cannot, then you have to go to work and somehow make it work with the LPP training component. I have heard people who have worked and, they had very hectic days and they probably worked for like 12, 13 hours, but they did it. So if you are dedicated and you want to make it work, you can, but just remember that it is going to be very hectic. But also remember that if you're doing 2 things at once, 2 full-time things all at once, you're not going to be benefiting too much out of both because you're in one place, whereas you also want to be in the second place. So with the LPP program, I have found that you get what you put into the program. If you're available more, you learn more. If you're available to attend optional meetings or optional, events or webinars, you learn more. So remember that if you are working full time, you might not have the chance to get to those things because you're already at work. But again, the point is to tell you that first question is, if you cannot afford to not work, then you have to work and you have to make it fit into both of these things somehow. Second thing that you want to ask yourself is, what is your priority? If your priority is learning and not anything else, then it is better that you don't do a full-time job on the side because it becomes very hard to focus on the law practice program when you have a full-time job. And like I said, if you focus just on the training component of the LPP, there's a lot that you will learn. In my opinion, I learned so many things through the first 4 months, and things like just communication, confidence, how to talk to lawyers, how to be with firm members. So I felt like the more I was available with my team members, other team members, networking, I learned a lot. So if your priority is, hey, I just want to learn, you can work full time, but there's no point because you're not going to be able to give proper time to the training component. And like I said, you get what you put into the program. If you're not going to be available, then you're not going to learn. However, if your priority is that, I want to make money, then you can work on the side. But if it's just something that you want and you don't need to, like for example, if you can afford to not earn for 4 months, I would say don't do a full-time job just because LPP is all about the experience. And if you don't experience it the way that it should be experienced, then you're missing out on important things. And in my previous comment that I made about whether you can afford to not work, that is the basic question that you want to ask yourself is, if it's okay for you, I don't recommend that you work just because you're not going to benefit from the LPP program, the skills that they offer, the experience that they offer, the people that you meet, and so many other things that you're going to learn. The thing that you want to think about is, do you want to build more relationships? Now, again, if you are in the LPP program, you are with so many other law students who are going to be lawyers in the future. And the more people you know, the better. And if you're not available most of the time because you have work, then you're missing out on networking opportunities, which are going to benefit you a lot when you become a lawyer. And friends are, your number one support. And sometimes if you practice different areas of law, your friends could refer clients to you, or you can run ideas of your friends. So again, do you want to network? If you're like, I don't really care, then that's something else. But in my opinion, you should make connections, you should make friends. And if you want to do that, then you cannot have a job on the side, because your job will take 8 hours of your day. A normal human being, in my opinion, cannot work after you have a full-time job. I would be very tired. I did work, so I did not obviously work the first 4 months of the LPP, but when I was studying, I had part-time jobs on the side. But that too, because my school was not like I had to go in every day. My classes were like 2-3 times a week. So in my opinion, when you start something, you want to benefit from it in a way you're supposed to, as opposed to figuring out different other ways to do it. So the LPP is designed in a way that you are going to be working full time for the training component. You have your firm, your team members, and everybody there. So if you try to mess it up and you try to add more responsibilities, well, sure, you might be able to complete it, but like you're not going to get the benefits out of it. For example, networking. Do you want to meet new people? My last and final point is primarily just based off the first point that I said, is again, just take the LPP, think about the LPP program as, a canvas, and a canvas that you have to paint. So for example, you have a blank paper and you're the one who's going to paint the canvas for the first 4 months. If you're not available to paint it because you're painting somebody else's canvas, which is your full-time job, then this canvas is just going to be blank. And you might complete it, half putting in effort, which are not the way that you should, but you're not going to really paint that canvas in a way it should be. So just remember that. And again, if you have personal, financial, whatever your situation is, and if you have to work, that's something else. But if you can afford not to work, I would recommend don't work, so that you can paint your canvas and not worry about other things. Because it's only 4 months, it's not going to linger on for years, only 4 months. And those 4 months will help you learn a lot. And I felt like I learned a lot, and I made so many connections, and it was the best. Thanks for watching. I hope that this was helpful, and have a great day, and I hope to see you next soon.